Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Tribe Table Talk Podcast.
Yo, what's happening?
We are excited to be on part 3 of the series entitled Top 10 Most Common Issues in Marriage. And we are touching on the good one today, guys. We are touching on the lack of sexual intimacy.
It's a big one.
What are the kind of things that we're going to be exploring today are some of these questions. What if it's an issue in your marriage? What is causing a lack of sexual intimacy in your marriage? Has there been times where there's been dry spells in your marriage and you just kind of get frustrated as a husband? Maybe wives, you're watching and you're like, well, my husband wants sex all the time and he says I don't give it to him enough, but he don't show me enough affection. He get on my nerves. The husband is like, yo, I need to get it more often. I'm doing all those things. This is the kind of things that we know each marriage deals with in some way, form, or fashion. And when we look at marriages right now, we look at sometimes a lack of sex, or it's a stigma in marriages where sex in marriage is just boring, it's stale. You know, you ain't supposed to be having sex with just one person for the rest of your life. That's boring. You know, that's the kind of stuff we have in our culture, you know. But we're going to dispel some of these myths and we're going to help some of these marriages, and we're going to be real on this topic because we know this is the topic that everyone deals with, that everybody has in their minds, how to tackle this, how to address it. And we're going to put it all on the table as usual. You know what I mean?
Yes, Sirski.
Man, let's get it, bro.
So off the top of the head, we're going to kick it off with just asking you guys, what do you guys think, just some of the most basic or most common reasons why a marriage may suffer from a lack of intimacy? And just speak from your own experience and just speak from just your own observations. And what are some of the things that are the most common reasons why this happens in marriage?
Yeah. I think one of the top ones on a lot of people's lists, a lot of couples lists, especially married couples, is kids. As far as lack of sexual intimacy, I feel like kids can be a huge player in that lack. You know what I'm saying? Just because of, stress or just tiredness. I think kids play a big role in that. Especially when you get deeper into your marriage, and especially when you got little ones too. That's not as independent. Kind of rely on you for everything. Bedtimes are not always the easiest, especially like myself, me and my wife, our daughter still kind of just lays in the bed with us.
Same here.
Yeah, man. It just be like that sometimes. So you kind of, as a married couple, have to learn how to adjust and go around that and be more disciplined and more intentional about your time together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, because you could easily let kids interfere with sexual intimacy, just being intimate in general. So I know, like my daughter, like anytime that my wife and I, we get lovey-dovey, she's like right there. Like it's funny, like she got radars that just go off. No. She'll just come right in between us. And so it's like even just hugs and kisses and all that kind of stuff in the kitchen, she just runs up and just is right there always. So if you don't really have a plan, or if you, like you said, not being intentional enough, especially couples with kids, and still dating and doing date night and things like that, you could easily let sexual intimacy slip in your marriage. Like, so that's like, for me, that was like one of the number one causes.
Kids, yes.
Definitely can relate to everything that Cal just said, bro.
Yeah. We all can.
Yeah. What? Did you experience that same thing, Dion, with the birth of your son?
Yeah, man. My son, we was co-sleeping for a while, so we started to put him in his own room. And that boy, he'll try to jump out of the bed, he'll pop up, just start crying, trying to get those intimate times and intimate moments in. It was tough for a while. I mean, it helps to have more rooms in the house, to try to do certain things. But yeah, man, having little man, and it was tough trying to navigate, because you get to the intimate moment, get to those portions of your marriage, and then it's like, okay, we got to hurry up and do this before he wake up, or
I've been
got to hurry up
like
and
that.
make this happen. And we already know how he is. When he awake, he won't go back to sleep.
Right.
So,
right.
Some
Yo,
deals.
man, kids can be the ultimate blockers.
Ultimate
They're the
blockers.
ultimate blockers. I got the same issue. My 3-year-old always wants to sleep in the bed with us.
Mhm.
And it's like, we haven't even got to that part where we actually try to train him to be in his own room,
Mhm.
because it's just been so tough, because he's just so used to sleeping with us. So it's like literally and figuratively he's in between us. You know what I mean? And it's a fight. It's a fight, because like it's because we, like there are times where we just want to be alone. We're like, yeah, Christian, just leave it, let us be. We just want to be me and wife, and it's not even just always sex, because that's that's a big reason, but it's also just like we just want to sit down and just watch a movie together, like
Yep.
because that's the warm up sometimes, that's
Exactly.
like get into bed sometimes, just cuddling while we watching the movie, like that may start it and lead to that. You know what I mean? But I can't even get
You
to
don't
that
even give
because
yourself a shot.
right, because Christian want to lay in between us, and my son is just like Selah. When we start to show, like we start to have start showing affection towards each other, he tries to get in the middle of us. So
It's funny.
like, show me some love too. I want attention.
He's like a super mama's boy. My other kids didn't do that, but him, if I try to go like hug my wife and kiss her, he goes, yeah, and he tries to get in between us, like literally. He'll try to like break us apart, and we're dealing with that right now, man. But
that's hilarious.
fatigue is another one, man, which kids will add to, right? Because I got 3.
Right.
And my wife's typical day, I'm working sometimes away from home, sometimes I work at home, but while I'm doing my 8 hours in the office or whatever, she's with the kids. She is with all 3 of them, and she homeschools them, whatever, feeds them, takes care of them, helps them with their assignments, all that. I get home 5 o'clock or so. She is like sometimes exhausted. Sometimes it's like she's just like, here are the kids. I'm gonna go upstairs. And even when I'm home, sometimes she's not done with her job.
Right.
Whether that's even while I was being with the kids, maybe doing some household chores, cooking dinner, all that stuff that comes with being sometimes being a wife and a mother. By evening, she's tired.
Exactly.
She's tired. Like literally, she just wants to lay down, put on her favorite TV show, and she's like, "Everybody, leave me alone." That's really like how
everybody out,
right? And it's tough because I'm thinking at a certain time of night, I'm like, I'm trying to. It's been a while, baby. I want to get it in tonight. And she's like, I'm tired. I just want to be left alone. You know what I'm saying? So it's a battle to really, really kind of keep that going when the kids keep you so busy. And at night, there are times where she's tired or we're both tired. So at the end of the day, it's like, how do we alleviate that? Like, how do we deal with that? I guess when our wives are too tired, what are some ways that we can kind of address that?
Yeah, I think it starts with routine. It starts the kids, because since we're talking about kids, especially with young ones, they got to have routine, and that's bedtime routine is the focus right now for me. And I feel like we're in a good rhythm. I feel like we're developing. So it's like having a system. I know exactly what I need to do with my daughter. I need to rock her to sleep. She going to sleep in her room. My son, just got to tuck him in, make sure he's straight. Make sure you got whatever drink he need before bed, or you know how they be. I need something. My son say, I need something at night every time before bed.
I'm
gonna give you something, bro. knuckle sandwich. But yeah, just having a good routine. I think that starts with I feel like that's been what we've been focusing on, is that bedtime routine. But I think throughout the day, it's doing as much because, like you said, I work from home sometimes. Me and my wife, we work home together most days when I'm not at the office. So just trying to do that balance so she isn't taking on the workload. And then after work hours, she got, like you said, cooking and washing clothes, all that kind of stuff. And that stuff starts to build, especially with the kids, adding that different stressor. So just being able to work as partners,
Right.
I got dinner tonight. If you want to just do cleaning up today, or vice versa, or I'm gonna take the kids out for the afternoon. You do what you got to do around here, and then just come back and just try to eliminate as much stress off of her as much as possible, and just kind of create that balance. So we're not dog tired at the end of the day.
Right.
And then on top of that bedtime routine, I feel like giving ourselves enough time at the end of the night, tucking the beds in, right at bedtime. And so giving us some time to be able to watch a movie, get some popcorn and Slurpees and all that kind of stuff, and just hang out and create that intimacy space. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That boy says Slurpees, man.
My wife is big on those, man.
And those are great, man. Everything that Cal said, man, even when you do that stuff, like sometimes, you you have those unforeseen circumstances where baby just won't go to sleep, bro. Baby won't go to sleep, or you may feel tired just out of nowhere, just after a long day of doing whatever it is that you do. Sometimes you just got to set a schedule, man. Like, try to get some sleep, and then 2, 3, 4 in the morning, y'all meet up and say, hey, breakfast time. Sometimes it got to be like that, man.
You got to be creative.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, man. Like, of course, they say, men always want sex, and we, are just savages when it comes to doing it. We'll get you while you sleep in the shower. We'll get you, yeah, man. It's sometimes it's just about building that up. Like, just letting your wife know, hey, I'm gonna get you, and just, doing little, certain acts throughout the day to, let her know, like, we gonna be intentional about setting this time to make this happen.
Yeah.
And
setting that schedule, man.
Yeah, that's important that you said that. It's amazing how I've been pondering a lot this week about how amazing it is that God made us so different, right? God has created us different in how we approach sex as man and as woman, and men, we don't really need much to get our fires going. You know what I mean? Like your wife looking good around the house, that's all we need to be like, oh, baby, let's go upstairs. Women need a little bit more. Women need affection. Women need to feel close to you, right? Women need to have that emotional connection, right? Before them to kind of get turned on or get in the mood, so to say, right? And so we have to, as men, it's amazing how God made this like complementary relationship between man and woman, between husband and wife. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we if we really want to keep that sexual intimacy going, there are some things that we have to do that aren't necessarily natural to us, right? Our wives don't got to do much for us to be in the mood. You know what I'm saying? My wife can be like, she could bring the subject up. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, what I got to do? You know what I mean? Like let's like this. It's not a secret that men usually have a higher sex drive than the woman.
Savages.
Right? Not that women don't have a sex drive, but it just takes a little bit more on the husband's part to do some things to kind of stoke that fire. And it's things, believe it or not, outside the bedroom, usually that kind of gets that fire going within your wife. So when that time comes, she's ready to go, or she's more willing or more open to get it on because you've done X, Y, and Z to kind of stoke that fire throughout the day. Right.
Yeah.
So, touching on what you guys were talking about, because we were talking about, our wives being tired. So it's like, I have learned to say, just like Cal was talking about, how can I pick up some of the slack?
Yeah.
And help her so that she's not as tired. And two, she's more appreciative, which leads to a response in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Right. And then she feels like, hey, you know what? He really cares about what's going on around the house, like that, and that kind of sparks that a little bit. And some of the greatest ways of affection, like Cal was talking about, is just helping out around the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, one of the greatest things I can say to my wife is, hey, baby, I got dinner tonight. Oh, hey, baby, go ahead and relax. I got these dishes.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
A long way. So
just
we have to,
that physical touch, man. Keep it physical touch too. Like just walking past and
touch on it,
doing whatever, grabbing a hair or something. Or
that's good.
And not saying that you got to be aggressive and crazy, but I'm just saying like just light touches and stuff like that. A random hug or a random kiss on the cheek. I mean, some of those things.
Because we can have sex. We can have sex as men and just be like, it's nothing to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But women, they want to feel close to you. They want to have that emotional connection for them to really enjoy this experience. If they're kind of annoyed by you, or if you haven't been showing them love, you know what I mean? Or if you ain't been helping around the house, or you
arguing.
know what I mean? When it's right, or arguing, when that time comes and you try to approach her, like, hey, baby, she ain't really feeling you in the moment. It's not really, there's not really that connection, and you'd be amazed how, we think about foreplay in the bedroom, but foreplay is during the day when it comes to your wives.
All day.
Right. Yeah. Foreplay is sending your wife that text while you're working. Hey, baby, I love you. Hope you're having a great day. Just small things like that, I have learned really make a difference.
Exactly.
It's just that physical touch, like Dion talked about, right? How important it is. Like sometimes as married couples, when you just kind of been together for a long time, you could be watching a movie and one person's on one side of the couch and the other person's on the other side of the couch, but man, it makes a big difference when you actually like cuddling physically, or you just sitting together, laying on each other, like that, like once again, that wife just like, getting that physical affection from you just warms up that oven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you didn't did all these little things little by little. Next thing you know, when the time comes, she's more open, she's more available. And when you bring the subject up, it's not like, all you think about is sex. She might be the one to initiate it.
Exactly.
Right? Because you have been kind of planting those seeds throughout the day or throughout the week. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I learned that so much. That was once I kind of started really, like I learned it, but once I really started like putting that to action, I saw the sexual intimacy in my marriage grow tremendously.
Yeah. So say some dudes out there, they ain't even into all the cuddling and all that stuff. And their wife love language may be physical touch. Yeah. I hear some of these married dudes talk, hey man, I'm doing me, man. She gonna do this, she gonna do that. And then you get home and wonder why y'all argue all the time. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Dudes ain't even into cuddling. Like, what are you with her for if y'all ain't building that physical aspect of it?
Yeah, right. And it's all intimacy,
Right.
Sex is a connection. It's just, I would challenge any guy, to not be so goal oriented, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to sex, and be more like it's part of throughout the, like you were saying, Kenny, it's part of the throughout the day connection and intimacy with your wife and fellowship with your wife. That's just like a means to an end. It's like all those things put together, compiled together is what creates that environment. And so it's not just at the end of the day, I'm just like, that's my goal, just to have sex. It's like, my goal is to love my wife through the entire day. And if, in most cases, if all those things are done in a smooth fashion, it's like that, it'll lead to sex. And it'll lead to quality sex. You know what I mean? It's like, it'll be that much more of a better experience because you're connected. You feel connected throughout the day. And so, bro.
I was gonna say sometimes, I mean, everything that Cal just said, quality and such. Sometimes you won't have to exert so much energy. You won't have to be marathon man all the time if you build up in the right way.
Right.
So you may have these intentions like, oh man, another long night, so to speak, when you get to that intimate place. But hey, if you build that intimacy, sometimes as the man, you might not have to put that much energy into it. It may just happen and you'll be happy.
I like that you touched on the quality, because that's important. Like, you know, if you ain't been really getting it in, or if you ain't been really doing what you have to do as a husband as far as affection, helping out with stuff around the house, you know, but then sometimes as husband we can get that guilt trip, like, oh, we ain't had sex in like 3 weeks, like, ain't you supposed to, you know, like, you know, we give that guilt trip. So then that sometimes when that she doesn't have that emotional connection, but then she just kind of like does it out of guilt, it's not really quality sex. You know what I mean? It's kind of like she's just laying there and she's like, all right, just do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's just something that is like a pleasing you, satisfying you, instead of it being more of a connected, you know, activity.
Right. Yeah, for real. Because then, but when that wife does feel emotionally connected to you, when she does genuinely feel like you care about her, bro, the sex is so much more of an experience.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So like husbands, yes, we have to, it's amazing how how the Lord just kind of, like I said, orchestrates this, because it draws us back to him, because ultimately we have to be closer to him to help us rethink sex. You know, we grew up and the things that we watch, some of us were exposed to porn at an early age. And so we just know sex in this way as a means to an end. You know, getting in there, and as long as I get mines, hey, you know, like that's the kind of mentality, right? Goal oriented, just that's the mentality. But when we start realizing that that's just fantasy, that's not even real life relationship sex, you know, and once we start realizing that it actually takes work. And so, there's some men out there that's like, I ain't really cuddling. Oh, you only hurting yourself.
I don't even like that, man. That make me soft, man. I'm soft. Like, what do you mean? That's your wife.
She's my wife.
That's your wife. What are you doing? Like,
right. Yeah. And it's like, she's supposed to give it to me. You know, she's my wife. You know, it's like, bro, you hurting yourself. Did you understand how silly you sound?
Yeah, bro. What are you doing?
So, go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna bring up the scripture. And you know, when I was thinking about, like, you can't really find like I was when I was researching, you know, how many times the Bible speaks in about sex, you know, just the act itself. But it talks a lot about, you know, the unconditional love that we give to our wives and how we should love our wives, right? And so, you know, when I was thinking about the topic, the scripture, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, no, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it's not proud, it doesn't dishonor others, it's not self-seeking, it's not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. It always protects, it always trusts, hopes, and preserves. So I feel like that's always the mindset when you're with your wife and in that relationship. And so I feel like you can insert sex into the conversation when you think about that verse as well. You know, it's not just self-seeking. It's not, you know, I'm just trying to please myself. You know, I'm trying to love on my wife. So
right. Absolutely.
It definitely correlates.
Yeah. And it's important because, you know, we have to get out of the habit sometimes as men just doing stuff just because we want sex. It has to be a regular daily occurrence. And you have to get into that mindset where your wife needs to know that you love her just for her.
Yeah.
Now, I had to learn this too. Your wife, man, they'll start picking up on the fact that you only doing this because you want some sex.
Quick.
Right.
Pick up on that quick.
They pick up on that. Like, hold on, what? You haven't been doing this all week. Now you trying to cuddle with me. What you want out of this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, or you just been a jerk to her or whatever. You know what I mean? And then you go up to her, hey baby, you know, you cuddle with her or whatever, and she ain't in the mood because it's not a regular occurrence. You know,
Faking the funk out there.
Faking the funk, right? And a woman wants to be loved for who they are, man, not what they can give you. You know, and like I said, there are times where a wife will pick up on that, and that's a turnoff. You know, it's like, oh, you know, a woman, you know, wives don't want to be just kind of looked at as your object of sexual pleasure. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, are you really showing your wife love without always, you know, the end goal of expecting sex in return?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you got to go throughout the day. If you do all of the things like taking care of the house and taking care of the kids, taking care of your wife and her needs, like you set your house in order anyway.
Right.
So,
right.
Like, why wouldn't you want to do all those things?
And you just loving her for her. So I had to learn how to just, you know, hey, let me do this because I love her. Not, if I do this, I hope I get sex later. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different change of mindset, because once you start developing that mindset, you'll start doing things and you're not even realizing. And I look back in my day and I helped her with this and I helped her with that. And she, you know, and then like later on that night, she looking at me a certain way. And I'm like, oh shoot, I did do this and I did help her with that. And I did kiss her when I got home. And I did text her when I was at work. And oh shoot, you know, so it's like you'll be amazed. Right, right. Exactly. You have to build good habits because your wife wants to know that you love her just because she is, you know, just because she's your wife, just because that's what God called you to do. That's what God commanded us to do. So it's like, you know, once you kind of have that mindset, it's almost like you're not doing it just for that, but that's a added bonus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're showing your wife that, hey, you know what, I love you, not because you got a vagina and you can meet my pleasure, you know, you can meet my needs of pleasure, but because you're my wife, you know. Yeah. But how do you guys think a married couple? So we're talking. Let's say we have a married couple in front of us. They're struggling with sexual intimacy. How do you think they should approach that? How should that conversation go?
I'd say pray first, man. Like, make sure y'all both got a strong connection with God, man, because that's where it starts. That's the foundation of the union that y'all got. Pray, talk about it, and you know, seek wise counsel. Seek people who you can trust. It can start off as like friends who are married, who are connected with Christ. You know, get some, you know, advice from them, just to, you know, speak with them in confidence. Like, hey, man, I'm coming to y'all. We dealing with this. What y'all think? And if that ain't the approach you want to take, go and get some counseling. Go get some marriage counseling. You giving your money to someone who won't also spread your secrets, and you giving it to them in confidence too. Like, go get some counseling.
Is that a conversation you ever had in your marriage, Cal, Dion?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, not necessarily, just because I feel like we are still young in marriage. So we go to each other for everything, just because we dealing with this situation or dealing with these issues together. So we come together when it's an issue.
Right.
Yeah. It definitely communication about the subject, not being scared to talk about it. You know, if you feel in a certain way, you're feeling like there's a lack in an area, especially in this area. Maybe you're not feeling love. Maybe you got to talk about it, and not be afraid to express yourselves and how you really feel. And so you can't come to a conclusion. So if it is, so if it is something like, you know, I'm just not feeling love throughout the day. So you can really work on those, and you just get answers too. You know, so, you know, what would help you? Like, what would make you feel like less stressed throughout the day? What can I help with? You know, what type of just basically trying to get to the crux of the issue. Because if it's a complaint, it's real, you know, either side.
Yep.
And you got to know their love language too, bro. Like you can be doing all these different things and, you know, your wife ain't even, you know, showing that any attention. It's like, okay, you know, that's good. But acts of service, you know, physical touch, all those things, if she's into those, she, you know, she got a different love language than what you're trying to give, that can affect the intimacy too.
And you only know those things by having those conversations.
Yeah, for sure.
I only bring that topic up because one of the main things that I wanted to touch on, what Cal said, great, is we have to be willing to talk about this, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be amazed how, you know, you'd be surprised how many marriages don't talk about this subject. You know, whether it's just sometimes it's the elephant in the room, and for whatever reason, we have to just sit down and have a conversation and be honest with our spouses, because that's the only way that sometimes you're going to come to a conclusion or you know, really get your feelings out, really put it out there so that y'all can work on these things. You know, we have to not just sweep things under the rug. We have to talk about it, sex included. Mm-hmm. You know, and like you said, Dion, you know, her love language. How do you find those things out? You have to find that out through, exactly, through talking. You know, hey, baby, what are you? You know what? I feel like we're not having enough sex. Why is that? And you might get some answers. Your wife might be like, well, you haven't been X, Y, and Z. You don't do this. You don't do that. You don't do this. And you're like, oh,
breath stink. You're ugly, but I still love you. Like,
right. Hey, I
feel like love with you.
Be a hard conversation sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, you joking, Dion, but personal grooming,
that's real.
It's key too. Yeah,
that's key.
You know?
Real though.
You know,
not saying it happened to me or nothing. I'm just saying like that stuff real. People fall out of love with people, and
factors.
You got to get you got to get to the root of this, man. You got to get to the root of it, and that you only can go that by just sitting down. And like I said, obviously, just approaching your wife gently, not just bombarding her with this, but from a place of understanding. Like, okay, hey, look, I noticed that you don't never want to be in the mood. Like, what's going on? What do we need to do? What is there something I need to do? Mm-hmm. Is there something I need to do better? What are some of the things that, you know, really, you know, turn you on the most about me? You know, and wives will tell you.
Yeah.
You know, wives will tell you. We just got to have those conversations and sometimes be the one that initiates. Say, hey, you know what? This is because obviously you don't want to have a sexless marriage,
right?
You know, you don't want to have You don't want to have a dry marriage. You know, we have to understand this, man. There are going to be periods where times might be dry. It's just what it is. You know, there are times where it's on and popping every day. And then there's times where I look up and I'm like, man, it's been weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you guys can relate to?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just like, and maybe it's not, like you said, it's not always an issue. Right. Or maybe it's just like through life.
Yeah.
Just life. Just life is happening. You
life
know,
hits you.
It's just been a busy week, busy weekends.
Yep.
You know, it's like, you know, that time of the month, you know, that I got another question added to that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, it just happens naturally. And so that's just a typical marriage, I believe. Right. But you just have to make sure you're working on those, like all those other things that we're talking about before, you know, communication and boundaries. So you're not overstepping certain areas, and just continuing to love your wife and having that affectionate and passionate environment around you.
Yeah.
And sex is not, we have to not, like you said, to be so goal oriented and allow, you know, the intimacy to work itself out. Yeah. And it's like you said, sometimes you have seasons, but those seasons wouldn't last if we're put the focus on all these things coming together, and then sex being like the fruit of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And man, I had a point, but I lost it. But so how often do you guys think a married couple should be having sex?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question. Honestly, I mean, as often as possible, man. As much as desired.
Like, I like that answer.
No, seriously. Like you can't set a time limit or a number on how many times y'all need to feel connected, because y'all connected for life. Mm-hmm. One of the things, like you know, you got to look at your wife as, you know, I ain't saying put her on a pedestal and make her an idol or nothing, but like, this is a person that's with you for the rest of your life, knowing the ins and outs of you, you know, knowing how you speak and finish your sentences. Like, that's a person of great value. Mm-hmm. So as much as you want to invest in that person, like, take as much time as y'all need to connect, have sex, have great conversation.
All right,
talk about the quality.
Let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it a little bit. How much time has passed where you think it's too long without sex?
Even better question.
Let me see. What time is it? And I'm on this podcast? No,
bro. Dion, like 3 hours.
3 hours.
No, bro. It ain't even
on that 24-hour mark. Come on.
Right, man. Hold on. Wait, it's been 10 minutes, man. What's good, man?
I need you to be in the bedroom ready.
Yeah. No, man. You guys as the people
turn to that's a quick turnaround. You can turn around that quick.
I was gonna say, you two fellas as the guys who's been married longer than me, like what's y'all, you know, milestone, or what's that number for y'all? Like, how much time, how many days? Like,
I mean, not every marriage is the same,
right?
You know, I don't want to categorize and put everybody in just one area. You know, sometimes it's preference. It's just like, it's a way to connect, right? And so if you treat it like that, it's like that radar will go off. It's like, I mean, I just miss my wife, or the wife, I just miss my husband. You know, I just want to connect. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to put an exact number on it, but
it is. Every
so
marriage.
I feel like
different.
when you get to a certain amount, like you're getting like 2-3 weeks, and it's like, wait a minute, 4 weeks. And if that's the regular, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if that, like we said, there's seasons where that happens. But if that's like the regular, like, I think that's where you have to reevaluate. And it depends if that's okay with you. If you're like, you know, I don't need it that often, and that's not every married couple is different. But I don't know, I feel like sex is healthy in a marriage. So if it's not happening often, I feel like there might be an issue there. You might want to examine that.
Yo, I'm gonna go on the limb and say at least minimum once a week.
That's good, bro.
I think that's fair. That's fair, right?
That's more than fair.
That's what you like. You know what I'm saying? You like it, I love it.
Yeah, and I put everything into that factor: kids, busyness of life, all that. I think that if too much time has passed, if you get into that period like Calvin said, where it's like 2 or 3 weeks, you know, you start to get that itch as a husband, like, oh, okay, well, you know, it's been a while. Like, let's
you know, mode, be like, what's good, man? I've been looking for you. You ain't been around.
And no, not demon mode. We ain't trying to go demon mode.
No, I'm just saying, like, just trying to search and destroy. Like, look, I've been looking for you. Where you been at? Straight savage.
Body senses is tingling.
And this kind of helps me segue into another kind of topic where it's like, you know, we need to, when that time comes, you know, it's been 3 weeks, whatever. I think it's okay to approach your wife and say, hey, you know, it's been a while. Like, you know, you might have to schedule some sex. You know, you guys ever did that? Like, yo, today
I'm gonna pencil this in.
What time?
I'm pencil this in. Cancel my 5 o'clock.
Hey. Like I said, you just talk to him that, look, later on. I'm just letting you know now, like, later on.
Man, y'all know how many times I've done that. Y'all know how many times I've done that, bro.
You know what? Sometimes that works too. Like, it sounds old fashioned and stuff, but it's like, because, you know, sometimes you want sex to just be something. It can be spontaneous sometimes. But you like, oh, okay, 8:30. I'll make sure I showered. And make sure you showered. The kids are gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna put a movie on. And
we ain't gonna watch it.
Down. It's about to go down. Put it on,
though.
Right. Yeah. But you know what? It's amazing because God helped me realize that I have to ask him, have a relationship with him to get the self-control I need, because sometimes we can put heavy expectations on our wife that they can't meet.
For sure.
We can give them unrealistic expectations. And sometimes that can come from a high sex drive. Sometimes that can come from, you know, just being a little bit, you know, too much sex drive sometimes. where some of that might be rooted in lust. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
porn can affect that.
Porn can affect that, right? Where you always in the moment and your wife is already not in the moment, but in the mood, and your wife is like, dang, like how, like
how much you need,
right?
Yeah. More addicted to the act,
right?
Addicted to
right,
connecting with your wife,
and that's the sad thing is like it amazes me how often I see such and such cheated on such and such, whether it's like celebrity marriages you're reading about or just like regular people, and it's like, well, dang, that his like husbands cheating on beautiful wives. You know what I mean? And it's like it has nothing to do with the woman sometimes, even though sometimes that can be the case. But it's like, all right, we haven't killed that lust, we haven't killed that flesh. Where we like, if our wife, if it's been just, we talking about weeks. Some people out there, it's like a couple of days and they upset. They 3, 4, 5 days and they upset, and they can't really endure those periods of dryness. And that's how sometimes, she ain't giving this, my needs met elsewhere. And I think that's such a dangerous spot, man. And that's how I think a lot of marriages are destroyed by sometimes men, our own desire to want it constantly, and then wives can't keep up.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to be grounded in the Holy Spirit and Jesus and the spirit of self-control, and just sometimes just like understanding, like, all right, I may go this week without it. Husbands, we can't turn towards porn to meet that need when our wives are having those periods, which sometimes we should be able to give them those times. Whether it's the menstrual cycle, whether it's, it's just been a really crazy week and we just got to be understanding sometimes. You know what I mean? Am I communicating this right?
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And I just don't know how we do that outside of Jesus. Because sometimes in marriage, it just takes a discipline to just know that you might go without it a few days, and rightfully so.
Love is patient.
Right. Love is patient. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
We got to be patient with that, and
we can't get self-control.
Yeah, we just can't really get into the point where it's like you get entitled to it almost, like, where it's like, you don't get it. Are you gonna give it to me? All right, I'm gonna go downstairs, and get on such and such porn site, and get my needs off by myself, because you ain't really doing what I need you to do. You know what I'm saying? That just causes even more conflict,
And we talked about in previous episodes how porn is such a killer in a marriage, intimacy killer. Yeah. And that
that boy froze on us.
Dang.
The boy got that last word on him. It hit him.
He was about to hit something.
It hit his connection. That connection was like, man, that's real.
Did I freeze up?
You did.
You froze up.
Oh, man. I forgot what I was saying. No, but what was I saying, bro?
You were just saying how porn is an intimacy killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it takes off the appreciation you have for your wife. Those things, types of things take the appreciation off your wife. And so, you have to start, and we slip into those things, and, nobody's perfect, but you have to be able to climb out of that and learn how to focus on appreciating your wife, and I would say, like, one thing that my wife and I do, which I feel like has really, helped us in certain areas as far as intimacies, things like we work out together. And so I feel like that's just one of those small things that we do together, which this is kind of new. We never really did this. And we worked out together, earlier on in our marriage, but we set we're being intentional about this time of, doing our home workouts, stretching together, just doing things like that. And I'm looking at her and she's stretching, sometimes it get hot, so layers come off. You know what I'm saying? It's just like certain things that give me appreciation for my wife. And so I can just admire her. And I'm putting myself in those types of scenarios. We know what working out does for the desire. And, so that's just building us up together and just creating those moments. And then those healthy habits as a couple.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say, give that heart, make your heart good, bro.
Yeah,
just bro. So the blood can flow better. I'll say that.
Yeah, facts, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are simple things that we don't think about that lead to lack of sexual intimacy as well. It's like our bodies, you know, and our drives, the libidos, and all that kind of stuff. That's important. That we are focused and intentional about our health, because that is a leading cause as well.
Right.
So
yeah, and you know, I think that we have to be intentional, like you said, Cal, because I really do think that Satan hates marriage. And I think he works overtime to try to destroy marriage. And one way I think he just tries to destroy it is through a lack of sexual intimacy, like we're talking about. And, you know, there's sometimes a promotion, the kind of sex we shouldn't be having, you know, one night stands, you know, sex outside of marriage, and a myth or a stereotype that, you know, sex with the same person for the rest of your life is boring, and it's so far from the truth. It's so far from the truth. You know, when you really have that connection one-on-one with that person, and that person knows every single intimate detail about you, and you really are putting in that work, and there's that real closeness, man, marriage sex can be some of the best experience, the best experience you could ever have. You know what I mean? Because it's how God really intended it for it to be. You know what I mean? Not just a impersonal thing that we just do just to and get it off, but it's like a real like spiritual connection between the husband and wife. And you know, there comes a point where it's like, you know, you have to start realizing, you know, what is causing this? Is this spiritual?
Yeah.
You know, is this something that I need to deal with? Is this something that she needs to deal with? Is it something that we need to deal with together? Because sometimes as men, our ego can get in the way, our pride can get in the way of doing what we know we should be doing, or, you know, and on top of that, like, we have to unlearn some things. I had to unlearn some things when it comes to sex. You know, porn just shows you the act. It just shows you, you know, the man using the woman as a sexual pleasure and vice versa. It doesn't show you, it doesn't teach you intimacy. You know, it doesn't teach you, you know, cuddling with your wife, you know, giving her, you know, all those things that are important, you know what I mean, that play a huge part in fulfilling sex in marriage, rather than just the act of itself.
Yeah.
You know, and so we had to unlearn that, because it's selfish sex. It's just selfish mentality in general, you know, and I had to really unlearn a lot of stuff growing up, and my thoughts about sex, and just, you know, how I was conditioned to think about it.
Yeah. I just thought about something, bro. Like, some men get into the situation right here, but I can only imagine that, you know, you married and you having these feelings for somebody else, right? I can only imagine that sex is going to be so trash just because you're not connected on that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about people that cheat. Like, why would you, you know, risk, I won't even say embarrassment, but just looking like a fool in general? Like, why would you even risk that your own sexual intimacy with somebody else?
Yeah.
Like, you want to, I don't know, that thought just went through my mind. Like, why would you do that?
2080, or we call it 90-10, 2080. You know, trying to find that one thing you feel like you're missing in your marriage, you know, that sexual intimacy, and find that elsewhere, and then forgetting about the whole 80, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. You know, like that happens over time. That's why this subject is so important. That's why it's so important for marriages to have the conversation. You know, if there is lack, or if there's, you know, feelings, you know, on this subject, Yeah, because it's important. Like I said,
Yeah.
that could be a leading cause of cheating, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And I ain't saying that coming from a place of like, I'll never do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, in my mind, it just don't make sense. Just why would you throw away everything that you already built with your wife with somebody who, their body may look nice or they may be attracted to you on some, I can do it better type stuff, but
yeah,
I don't get it, man.
yeah. And last thing, and I'll move to the next question. Man, you have a whole lifetime. Now, let's think about it. Let's say you ain't having that much intimacy, or your wife ain't doing the things that you like, or she ain't doing the things that you want. Yo, you have a whole lifetime to explore with this person sexually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you think about it like that, like, you have the potential of really becoming, someone that knows everything that your wife loves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the marriage, we should be working to have the best sex life possible, because we have nothing but the rest of our lives together to explore, to try different things. You know what I mean? When you think of it like that, it's such opposite of what the world or the culture tries to teach us. Yeah. We have
you said it right, the world.
Yeah, the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a whole lifetime, man. So it's like we got to get into a mindset where let's enjoy it. We got a whole life I got a whole life to explore what turns you on. I got a whole life to explore the things that make you excited, and it's like when you think about it like that, man, how many times you can experiment and try this and try that, and it's like, man, sex should be fun in marriage, man.
Yeah,
it should be fun. It should be something that we really just like look forward to as a married couple.
Easy flow.
Easy flow.
Right. Don't make it an idol though.
Yeah.
Don't make sex an idol.
That's a good point.
True that. And and I just really feel like, man, it's sad how far away we've gotten from God's design. And it's just something that we should just work to keep, because it makes such a difference in your marriage.
Yeah.
It makes such a difference in your marriage. When you're having more sex, it's like your marriage is just it's on cloud 9.
Yeah.
No problems.
You're gonna have problems, but
no, I said no problems. When you flowing on cloud 9 and everything's working well, I said no problems. I mean, problems come, but no problems.
I would go as far as saying that's signs of a healthy marriage.
Yeah,
100%.
For sure. Should it be the man always initiating?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
because we are initiators.
Yeah,
we are. But what if we tired? What if we fatigued? What if we had a long day of lifting you up all day and lifting the house up?
Do you guys ever
you can come in there and do what you got to do?
So you guys think the wife should initiate sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they. I don't know. I mean, I don't really care who initiates what, honestly. But as long as you're both mutually. I'd rather be it more mutual in the move. So when I do ask, it's not like, okay, maybe. It's like, well, let's do it. It's like I can ask I can be the only one that's asking. That's fine. But as long as you're like open and willing to, like I feel like that's the kicker for me.
Right.
I feel like if I feel like I'm just asking just because it's just my thing, then that's different.
You want her to be interested too.
Yeah, I want her to have that desire too, rather than who's popping the first question or not, but just that desire.
Okay. Yeah, I just.
But that makes you feel desired though when they initiate it.
All
right. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
What you think, Kenny?
I think it's a nice change of pace sometimes when the women initiates.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that as men we should initiate. But every now and then it's like nice if she the one that kind of tries to initiate, I guess, for lack of better words. But
I'm gonna say this. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
If she don't, somebody else will. And that go for a lot of different things. If she don't, somebody else will.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you just the one that's doing it, and then you meet somebody or just in passing initiate something, it's like, ooh, hold on, wait a minute, that's different. What is that?
Yeah, everybody want to feel desired.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. Here's a scripture that I read that really touches on this topic, something that I've read, and let's talk about it. 1 Corinthians 7:3-5 says, "Let the husband render to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except with consent for a time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, so that Satan does not tempt you because of your lack of self-control."
That's a good one.
Thoughts on that scripture real quick?
Yeah. I guess the part that stuck out to me, just coming together, so Satan doesn't tempt you.
Yeah.
It's talking about the importance of coming together.
Yeah.
Because if like you said, that if there's lacking in one area, that's the area Satan's going to try to use to infiltrate in the marriage. Right. And so, don't let it go untouched and uncommunicated. Like we've been saying all night or all morning. So it's like, just keep that at the top of at the forefront. Cultivate your marriage, cultivate your marriage bed.
Yeah.
If there's lack in any area, pray over that lack.
Thoughts on the scripture, Dion?
I was gonna say, I hear that, and I'm I'm thinking instantly like, okay, it's you and your wife versus the devil and all of his tricks. Mm-hmm. So when I say you and your wife, like we've been talking about, you got to be connected, prayed up, being intimate, all those different areas. So whatever the trick the devil come up with, it ain't nothing. Get up out of here.
Right.
I think, men and women need to look at each other as married men and women. We teammates. Like, you my partner throughout life. So we a team going against all this other craziness that may tempt us.
Yeah.
So let's beat it up. Let's fight.
I love how this scripture kind of highlights the mutualness about marriage. Mm-hmm. He doesn't just say, hey, the husband has authority over the wife's body. Right. He says he gives it to us both. Paul gives it to us both. He says the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. You know what I'm saying? So when our bodies belongs to our spouses bodies belong to us. And you notice how I feel like Paul is saying, do not deprive one another except with consent. All right, consent is important for a time that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer. Later on, he says that I don't say this as a concession, as a command. I said it as a concession. But we have to make sure that we're not depriving ourselves. I was reading the King James, and there's another verb that's used rather than deprive is defraud. Right? It's almost like, defraud kind of, I was looking at the definition of defraud, right? And I think it was like, kind of like cheating somebody out of something. When we deprive our husband or we deprive our wife, we're cheating them out of something that they should be having, and, it's not just wives, you need to be doing X, Y, Z. It's also the husbands too, making sure that we understand that we're submitting ourselves to our wives. Our wives are submitting themselves to their husbands in that area because, the enemy will, like you said, Cal, infiltrate because of our lack of self-control. So that was one of my favorite scriptures because it just kind of touches on just the mutual aspect, that mutual affection, the ways that our wives can show us affection, as husbands. There are things that we need sometimes outside of just sex that meets that need, and the wife has to kind of like come to a place where they understand that because our love language may be different from the wife. Well, it will be different from the wife, right? And also at the same time, we have to meet those needs of affection. Regardless of how natural it is to us or not, we have to kind of come to the point where we like, okay, I gotta try to do this because this is her love language. What do I need to do to be better? We all need to get PhDs on learning our wives, for real. Like, we got think of this marriage as you learning. You have a whole lifetime to become an expert on your wife. You know, yeah.
No, he said a lot, man. That's all real.
Yeah, man.
That's all real.
Yeah. Did you have something, Dion, as far as scripture?
Yeah, man. Just 1 Corinthians, man, verse 7-3, man. Y'all just take care of each other's sexual needs. That's it. Husband take care of the wife. Wife take care of the husband.
What happened to that song Solomon you had? What happened to that song of Solomon? I was trying to hear that.
Was that a song? Was that? I think it was Proverbs, man. I know what you're talking about. Let her breast fill your desire. So I'm like, I gotta read it again. It was
the Bible get real about sex.
Dang, what is it? I don't know, but anyway, verse 7, verse 7-3 of 1 Corinthians, man. Just take care of each other's sexual desires, because you shouldn't be holding back. She shouldn't hold back. Don't try to use sex as a reward. Don't try to use sex as a punishment. You know, that stuff is, I don't know, that's 90s, man. That's 1990s stuff. Stop doing that.
Yeah. All right. So actually, you were right. Proverbs. Proverbs 5.
Oh, you went and found it?
Yeah, I was looking for it.
Bro. I wasn't playing.
That was a good one.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought you was going to drop it, bro.
I don't want to say it. I don't know it like, verbatim, but.
Pull that joint up. All right, here we go. I got it. Got to get it real quick. So just so y'all know, if y'all didn't know, the Bible is real.
Poetic.
Real poetic.
Boy, it's real poetic, yeah. And it's just real. And it's real about sex. Like, we can get wisdom. Y'all better hear me, man. We can get wisdom about sex from the Bible. You know what I mean? Don't get it twisted. The Bible touches on this subject too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That boy was in there speaking, boy.
Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. So we're talking about Proverbs 5 and 15. Drink water from your own cistern, guys. I'll let you marinate on that.
Preach.
Running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow on the streets and your streams of water in the public squares? Let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. A loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love. Whoo, boy. Shakespeare ain't got nothing on that.
Nothing, bro.
Shakespeare ain't got nothing on David. You know what I mean?
112 ain't got nothing on that.
Player.
Drew Hill ain't got nothing on that. You feel
Straight
me?
up. Why, my son, be intoxicated with another man's wife? Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman? For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your paths. The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them, the cords of their sin hold them fast. For lack of discipline, they will die, led astray by their own great folly.
Yeah.
So we was looking for 5 and 19, I think. Loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love. Yo, man, get intoxicated with your wife's love. Get drunk off your wife's love.
Talk to
Stop. Look, man. Look, porn, social media, Instagram. Stop. Like, looking at all these
still pictures.
Still pictures and IG models can get you comparing and not satisfied with how beautiful your wife really is.
Mm-hmm. Stop looking at the chick you work with. Stop looking at cousins and family members or people you know and all that.
Man, lust will make you forget what you have in front of you, man.
Yeah.
I'm just like passionate now, man. Like, don't let lust rob you of the beautiful woman that's right next to you.
Yeah.
Somebody else is gonna take it if you don't.
Yo, man, love your wife. Love your wife,
Appreciate it.
regardless. The ups and downs, the weight gain after kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the ups and, just like the things that happen in marriage are just sometimes forget. And, like I said, you can be on, you let lust get in the way and you start looking at women online, you start watching porn or whatever, you start looking at IG models or whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden your wife don't satisfy you anymore.
Man.
Instead of cultivating your wife.
Right. Right. And then your wife started thinking about herself, like, oh man, am I not pretty enough?
Right.
Am I not like, dang, I gotta look like these ladies for him to really be like, come on, man. Come on. Yeah. Sometimes it's we don't get sexually aroused from our wives, not because of something they're doing or not doing. Sometimes it's something that we need to deal with within ourselves.
That's a lot of the time.
A lot of the time, right.
Yep.
Right.
Unlearning bad habits. It's just unlearning, like you said, the world's view of sex, the world's view of relationships, and the world's view of marriage.
Yeah, man.
Satan is ruling of this world. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to step outside of that realm and, get into our word and understand what God says about sex and about healthy relationships.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's good, bro. It's like, we just got to appreciate our wives at the end of the day.
Appreciate them, man.
Appreciate them.
That's our job. That's our sole, purpose in this is to love and appreciate them and cultivate them and bring them along. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like cultivate that relationship.
And for you people out there, go ahead, Cal.
Yeah. No, go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say for you people out there who like to invite people to the marriage bed and doing all this new age stuff, having, multiple people doing, whatever in the same room,
open marriages,
married,
doing as the Egyptians do.
Yeah, bro, that stuff don't work. Like you don't realize you giving away like pieces of yourself that you will never get back. And if you are one of those people that like to share yourself like that, just go to God, man. You got to pray because I don't know, you leaving some toxic stuff within other people, or they leaving toxic stuff within you, man. So you gotta come back to Christ, bro. You gotta get grounded. I don't even know what to say. I'm speaking to somebody, but you gotta quit doing that.
Yeah. And like, come on, man. Like the Bible ain't against you enjoying sex in your marriage. The Bible is very explicit. Man, her breasts satisfy you always. Always. You know what I'm saying? Like, man.
Boy, Solomon was speaking, man.
Lord help us.
Yes.
Lord help us.
Yes, indeed.
Why be intoxicated with another man's wife? And not just, physical, but another man's wife on the screen too.
Mm-hmm.
Another man's wife you work with, yo.
Yeah, you might be lusting in your heart after, another woman, you know what I mean? Whether it's at work or wherever. Yeah.
Person you go to church with, all that, bro.
Yeah. And I think that once we really start to realize, every husband that's watching, man, let you be satisfied with your wife and your wife alone. Your sexual desires should be met in her and her alone, not her and something else when she is not in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
Your needs need to be met in her and her alone.
All right.
Some of y'all need to give that masturbation the habit to God. Give that to him. Help him to help you through that. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all need to give your porn addiction to God. Your porn habits to the Lord. come to him in repentance. Say, "Oh Lord, forgive me, help me to my sexual needs only to be met with my wife." You know what I'm saying? Because you got all these thoughts, or all these philosophies. Hey, introducing porn in marriage actually spices your marriage up. It's okay.
Masturbating is healthy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Masturbation in times of is healthy, and we don't even know that these things are so far from the truth. It's so far from the truth. And all we're doing is breeding selfishness, breeding lust, building a fire, putting gasoline on a fire that only the Holy Spirit can put out. And then it's lust because even when you do have sex with your wife, that fire is still there. And you're never satisfied. Porn, lust will leave you never satisfied, guys.
Sound tiring, bro.
Tiring, exactly.
Damn.
It is. I've dealt with that in my own life. So be satisfied with your life, but you got to get away from the lust, get away from the porn, get away from the masturbation, because that fire will always be burning and burning and burning. There's nothing your wife can do to turn that fire off. You know what I'm saying? So, man.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, guys. I got it. I guess we could
throw that bonus question in there that we had. Just to cap it off.
All right.
What question y'all talking about?
So the homie, let me pull this up. So the homie,
it must be a real question if he throwing it out there. He be in the mix. He's like, oh, people want to know.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued now. What y'all boys talking about?
Yo, so Ernest dropped a question. Is it okay to have sex with your wife during her menstrual cycle?
Oh man, y'all boys.
How y'all feel about that?
Eat crazy. That boy eat wild. I don't know, man. Oh man.
No, he kind of shocked me with that question.
He did.
I was like, hold on, what?
He must have heard that question.
Hey, man, I got high libido, but I have my limits. I love sex. Don't get me wrong. But
y'all boys wild, man.
I don't know. Kevin laughing like, yeah. You be laughing this whole time.
Oh shoot.
I'm gonna answer the question.
Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead.
It's like, hey, bro. I don't know. It's the way that this works. I'm gonna use the word flow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes the flow ain't really, it ain't leaking like that. So it's like, hey.
Oh boy, wow, yo.
Hey.
I'm gonna use one word. That's flow.
Oh, man.
Y'all interpret that how you will.
Oh man. Okay, so we got two no's and one yes.
Oh. Damn. Man, like I said, that's what marriage do, man. Them lengthy marriages, man. I don't know nothing about it.
Hey, I kind of go where Cal is getting to. I'm just the type of person, personally, and I'm no judgment. I don't like to. I like to be safe. You know what I'm saying? I'll be safe. When she felt like she almost done, I'm like, no, I didn't know you 100% done. Like I need that thing, like the day you think you done. Yeah, I think the day you think you done, we can do it the next day.
Yeah,
that way we know for sure. You know what I mean? That ain't no.
I feel it, bro.
That ain't no.
No accident.
Ain't no leakage. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just me myself like I watched a lot of horror movies in my lifetime, man. I'm desensitized, but I'm praying to God about that. But at the same time, like Kenny said,
bro,
if he talking about, we gotta wait another day. Like me, I'm in that mode, and then I get there and I look, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, did I do something? So that's why. Yeah, man, gotta go ahead and give it a little time, Cal.
That's a no. That's a no. That's a no.
Go ahead and give it a little time.
Oh man, that's funny, bro. I never would have guessed Cal would have said yes to that.
Oh my god. I want to ask E now.
You gotta give a little time. That's all I'm saying.
Yo.
You gotta.
Hey, to each his own, partner.
Hey,
I hear you.
Hey. And that's how you join the wife of your youth, bro. I guess, you know. Hey, do it.
Keyword, youth.
Yeah.
All right, man. I got nothing else, man. I'm y'all boys got me. So man.
Yeah, man. So you know, it was another question that Ernest gave us that we didn't touch on, but I think we did indirectly. You know, have you ever gotten frustrated about not having enough sex? How did you respond? I think we kind of just unanimously said we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I guess we can leave on a couple of closing thoughts. If you guys have closing thoughts, I guess I will just reiterate, have these conversations in your marriage. Marriage should be the place where we are enjoying the sex the most. That's how God intended. And once you start doing things how God intended, you'll see how amazing it really is and how much the world just showed us a counterfeit version of what God has created and how this is how God really meant us to be. Like, you know, we think of a lot of things that God's gifts, you know, and sex is one of those gifts. And when God is the orchestrator of it, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
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 It's going God's order operations. But like we said, like we segueing from communication to boundaries. You know, it's no coincidence that the next one is sexual intimacy because it all plays a part together.
Yeah.
And all plays a role together. Like you said, it should be that smooth ebb and flow throughout your relationship.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I say, you know, healthy sex life is signs of a healthy marriage. You know,
absolutely. Yes, sir. Y'all both doing it consensually. Y'all ain't making it no idle. Y'all building. Y'all, you know, creating life together. Y'all doing this for life, creating life, and
it's a deep connection.
Right.
Can't ask for nothing better. That's what you know. Some people's purpose is, man. They want that person that they know they got their back. So,
right.
And that's what I stand on. That's why I'm stamping it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man, that's it for part 3, man. Anybody who's watching, let us know your thoughts. What are the things that cause a lack of sexual intimacy in your own marriage? What are some ways that you can work through it or you have worked through it? Give us your thoughts. All right. And I'll just pray real quick. Lord, I just pray for every person that's watching, every person who's listening to us. I pray that you will bless their marriage. If they're struggling with this, I pray that you will give them wisdom, that you will give them insight, that you will help them to have these conversations in their marriage. And I pray that these, you know, as believers, as unbelievers, wherever, I pray that we really realize that ultimately you have to be at the center. And I pray, God, that you help these marriages to really grow in their sexual intimacy. Help us as husbands and wives. Let us as husbands enjoy the wives as our youth. Be satisfied with the beautiful woman that we married. And I pray for the wives as well, that they will be also cognizant of this issue in the marriage as well. And I pray that you just bless our marriages. Help us to work through these issues. Help us to work through these deep-seated issues. Help us to unlearn the things that we need to unlearn, and really just understand, wrap our minds around how you design things, Lord, and really follow your design and reject the world's way of doing things. Reject selfishness and reject just getting to, you know, getting to we would just, you know, help us, Lord, to do it in the way that you design. We love you and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 All right. Peace.